Roger, copy.
Hey everyone, welcome to another MoonDAO Town Hall. Great. I'm filling in today for Ryan. He's feeling a little bit under the weather. Seems like it's that time of year. I'm also a little bit congested, so if I sound a little nasally, that's why. Cool. So quick agenda. We've got no town hall speaker or guest speaker. So we're gonna go straight into proposals and then project updates. We've got two proposals this week. One of them is to update the project system, and the other is building on the Art Rocket project, which will be presented by Anastasia. Before we jump into proposals, though, I'll give some general updates here. First big update is that we've successfully sent over the funds for the Space Camp project. So this was the fundraiser. Over 50 people contributed from all over the world. We raised over $5,000, which was enough to sponsor a multi-axis trainer for the Inspiration for Space Camp. And we actually have another surprise announcement coming up. So stay tuned for that. I don't want to jump the gun on it yet, but there's another exciting thing surrounding that, and we'll update the community soon. Another cool thing that's we've been doing a lot of stuff here in the background, fixing a lot of things within the MoonDAO app, making certain things better, just kind of optimizing the website. You'll notice if you go now to the website, some of the navigation's been moved around. Things are kind of being reorganized. Something that's really cool that is being merged in here soon is we had a contribution from a community member, Wonder of Me. I hope I'm saying his username correctly, but he provided a proof of concept for Townhall summarizations, and it was pretty cool. And we decided to adopt it, and name.get was able to make a production version of it, and so you'll see that merged in soon, live within the app, and now you should be able to see summaries of all the past town halls, and this will be automatic after town halls. We'll make those notes available, which is a nice little quality of life thing. The other cool thing that happened over the Thanksgiving break is that we sponsored a video from Anthrofuturism. So our previous town hall guest just 2 weeks ago released a video on coil guns on the moon, which was a big topic that we discussed. And then we got to talking afterwards and decided to help sponsor his channel. So you'll see a little 90-second blurb about MoonDAO on his latest video. I recommend people check it out. It's really cool. It's very, very thorough and very, very interesting. So yeah, so that's it with general updates. We'll hop into proposals. I guess if you guys aren't tired of me, I will present the first proposal and then hand it over to Anastasia. So let me share my screen here. So the first proposal is an update to the project system. I hope that this is large enough on people's screens. If not, I can maybe zoom in a little bit. We're just looking at the diff between project V7 and V8. Maybe this is okay. I just thought I'd actually go into the details of this update. So for context, this is a system within the DAO that allows for the DAO to fund different initiatives that are proposed to it via governance. So we vote on whether or not to support an initiative, and then we will send funds to a multi-sig that is essentially just focused on executing that initiative. So this has been something that we've been iterating on quite a lot over the years. We're already at version 8, so this incorporates a lot of different learnings that we've had at MoonDAO. we actually proposed this a few months ago, but there was still some debate or kind of back and forth around some of the specific details, and we decided to shelve it to give it a little bit more time for discussion. And we had a lot of discussion, a lot of great discussion. In fact, you'll see there's 48 different comments on this proposal right on GitHub. The link is in the proposal text, so you guys can go and check for yourselves. Really great input. Especially want to highlight Enjabab, who provided some really good feedback. Phil provided some great feedback on this as well. And then Ryan and Jade also left some great comments. So a lot of people kind of put their perspective into this. So I'll just run through some of the major changes. This first one here is just kind of framing MoonDAO projects in a bit more concise sort of way. Yeah, nothing really too much to highlight there. The meat of the changes are really in the proposal approval process. So the template was changed slightly. The link is in here, but the major difference is that we now implement a limit on the total amount that a project can receive, which is 1/5 of the total quarterly rewards. So every quarter we have a rewards pool, and this basically adds a soft limit to, or a hard limit, I mean, a hard limit to the total amount of funds that can be requested. So this saves us a bunch of time. Oftentimes people come in with a very large budget, and we kind of have to have a back and forth around like, okay, this is what the DAO can fund. Our quarterly rewards are pretty big, so 1/5 is still, I think last quarter I want to say we had like $60,000 or something in ETH, pretty huge. So it's still like a $12,000 budget per project. This amount fluctuates, so it's calculated every quarter, but this at least allows us to very quickly prune proposals that are just outside of the scope of the budget. The other major change is there's now a separate Senate review process. So rather than reviewing the proposal right here in the town hall, the Senate will actually meet ahead of time to deliver feedback to the proposal and actually give a week for the proposal to edit and change, based off of that feedback. The other major change is that proposal, there's now going to be essentially a seasonal governance where every quarter we look at a batch of proposals rather than kind of ad hoc every week. There might be a proposal, there might not be. Now there's going to be a deadline to submit proposals, and then we review all of them as a batch. So the Senate will sit down, look at all of the incoming proposals, give feedback, give all of the teams submitting proposals a week to incorporate that feedback. And then this last step, for the major change here, is that we fund the top 50% of proposals. So this now allows for the DAO to kind of factor in the opportunity cost of funding one proposal versus another, and allows them to kind of assess the pros and cons of funding one thing versus another thing, versus kind of wholesale yes or no on any one given proposal. So yeah, there's some details in here that are important. There's also a limit on the total number of, or the total amount of funding that goes to the proposals, because there's a fixed amount of budget every quarter. If the top 50% of proposals that are funded end up being more than the total amount of budget, then we also will kind of reduce the number of funded proposals based off of what the DAO votes. So essentially, what this looks like from an individual's perspective is they'll see a few different proposals, and they can allocate their voting power between them. So if I have 100 voting power, then I can say, I give 60 to proposal 1, 20 to proposal 2, 10 to proposal 3, and so on and so forth, allocating all 100 of my voting points. And then the proposals with the most voting points are ranked from most to least. And then if there are budget constraints, then the one that's received the least amount of votes gets removed from that quarter's funding cycle. So hopefully that's clear. But yeah, there are a lot of benefits to doing this. A lot of it stems from like operational complexity, like batching things together means that we can like have a lot more focus when proposals are being reviewed. So rather than like every week we go through the same governance process, we batch all of it together and do it all in one go. Then also all of the funded projects are kind of a cohort there at the same time, which is also really great. Cool. All right, so that's kind of really the meat and potatoes of it. I'm gonna keep going here because there are a few other changes. This one's relatively minor, but it's around payment method setups. I think it's rather than payment streaming can go to the team's multi-sig. Let's see. Now, rather than a weekly progress update, it is a monthly progress update. So rather than kind of these like piecemeal smaller updates, we're going to ask teams to deliver, a more comprehensive update once a month. So I think that'll, be a little bit easier on the team and also kind of provide more of a focus, like, okay, now all of the projects will give a presentation on like how they're doing. Changing, we changed the name of one of the Discord channels, so that's being reflected here. This is another change. Rather than project leads immediately becoming members of the Senate, now a project lead will graduate to become a member of the Senate if their project is completed successfully. So rather than kind of give an individual a bunch of different responsibilities of not just managing a project, but then also taking a role within our governance, now they just have to focus on executing on that project. And then afterwards, if they would like, they can take a role within our governance. So yeah. There is some specificity around the how the ETH reward is calculated. Now it's taken the total reward is calculated based off of the total funding amount of all the projects. So this is just to kind of linger on this a little bit more. What we were doing before is we were subtracting individuals' upfront payment from the reward that they're receiving. Now we do it on a per project basis. Some more specificity around the actual calculation for the amount of reward that comes in our governance token. This is the actual equation that we're following. It was kind of implied tacitly before, but now it's more explicit. And then the rewards are now sent to the project multisig, which is great because that means that it's less operational complexity for us, and then also the team can continue to use that multisig if they want to use those funds to continue working on the project, or they can figure out how they want to allocate those rewards amongst themselves. They just kind of, we put that on the project. You guys can distribute rewards however you feel is fair. Budget is streamed over the period of the project. I think that's kind of basically what people have been doing anyways, but now it's a bit more explicit that we stream these amounts. proposal budget limits, like we talked about. These are the frequently asked questions, just to kind of clarify certain things. Yeah. If your project goes over the deadline, it rolls over into the next quarter. We've been doing this already. It's okay if your project takes multiple quarters. These are questions that we kind of get often, so we've just included them in the frequently asked questions. Yep. And oh, this one's actually important. We actually now create a multi-sig for projects. It was part of an update that we did. Now projects automatically, after being included, we create a multi-sig for them, which is great. Means less work or less know-how needed by the project team. So that's it. That's the whole thing. Thanks for walking through that with me. I know it's a pretty comprehensive update, but yeah, we've had a lot of great input from a ton of people within the community. The link to this is in the proposal text, so you can peruse it at your leisure. And yeah, the link to vote on it is within the Discord. So if you go to the Discord and then in the proposal section, I'll tag senators there right now. Cool. So I've tagged everyone there, and looks like it actually has already reached the threshold, so it's at 6 upvotes, which is great. Cool. So yeah, leave any thoughts or comments in the thread there on Discord, or feel free to write anything in the chat. Happy to go through it, or feel free to DM me if you have any questions about this. Cool. So that is all that I have about the project system update. I will hand it now over to Anastasia, who will be going over her proposal. So, hey, Anastasia, how's it going?
Hi, good to see you. Hi, everyone.
You too.
Yeah.
Feel free to share your screen if you'd like to, or if you want to just discuss it without sharing your screen, that's fine too. But
okay.
Yeah. I'll hand it over to you. Thanks, Anastasia.
Thank you. Okay. Just a second.
No worries, I've got you.
I think I will share the screen, yeah.
Okay. And I can add it here to the stage.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can you see it?
All right. Yep, I can see it. I'm gonna hop off. All right.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Thank you. So this project doesn't require any money or whatsoever, but we decided to do it because it's like really expanded way beyond the initial goals that we had for Art Rocket project in Brazil. And just here a recap of all the work that's been going on after the trip to Brazil, and all the work that should be done and finished and sent by the end of the Q4. So here I just show you quickly, the timeline. So a lot of rows you can see here, and basically it's consists of 14 videos that were created, and still some in the process for after the trip to Brazil. 4 composed music tracks also were created for some of the videos. 25 gigabytes of pictures that should be uploaded. And apart from that, we also had the Baikonur contest, which at the time when we submitted the proposal for Art Rocket Project Brazil, we didn't really had like a plan how to do this contest. But then in October, I think Brian and I, we created this great idea to attract more MoonDAO citizens and to attract great ideas or future proposals that also MoonDAO community can use. And I think all this enormous work really deserves to have this follow-up. I know that this proposal doesn't include a formal funding request, which is of course fair because we already received generous funding for the trip itself. But still, we hope that the team will be compensated through retroactive awards if community decides to acknowledge these accomplishments. So no pressure, just updates, because we have so much, a huge amount of data, videos, music, everything. Also the follow-up on how many people from Brazil joined the MoonDAO after our trip there, and how many people became a citizen after we announced the contest to go to Baikonur. So all of that, I think, I don't know, just really great. So I think I should stop sharing for now. And I'm just happy to answer all your questions. And hopefully, when we submit all the videos, we would start seeing them online on social media, and MoonDAO will publish them. And there will be like many short videos from each city and each place, but also there will be a long video with interview with Ayman, and I think you would really like it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Anastasia. Cool. I've tagged senators in the Discord to vote on the proposal. Also, yeah, if anyone in the Discord or listening on any of the socials have any questions for Anastasia, feel free to post them there. But yeah, if there are no questions, I see people voting right now in the channel. Then yeah, I think we can move forward with other project updates. All right, thank you, Anastasia, and yeah, thanks again for. Well, yeah, I just want to say briefly the past project was very, very successful, and excited to have you working on another project here with MoonDAO. So yeah. Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it will be after I finish my PhD. So.
All right. Okay. Cool. Well, we'll get into project updates now. We can start with the LORS project. So this is the Lunar open source rover standard. And we have Roy, who's the project lead for that project. Roy, can you hear us? Are you able
Yes,
to
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Yep, I can hear you. Feel free to share your screen if you have anything you want to share, or if you want to just give a verbal update, that works too.
Okay, sounds good. My name is Roy Kahangwe. I'm the project lead of LORS, which is a Lunar Open Rover Standards that's being run under MoonDAO. And we had very steady progress this week with our internal teams being aligned with various specific roles and learning how to use the Web3 tools. And we also had to look at citizenship of all our members under MoonDAO for this project. And we also had a lot to do with Git, which was quite challenging to the internal non-developers, but we did, navigate around that. Well, in terms of what we need, we're definitely looking at marketing and fundraising of the initiative, which is a continuous task, and we definitely need more partnerships and more people to come and work through with us from MoonDAO. And in the steps we also took, we also merged contribution from one of the MoonDAO members, and we participated in the International Space Technology Convention 2025, ISTC, and we presented our project, which was received with very great applause. And we're looking at incorporating more people within this, and making this fruitful. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Roy. Just one question for you. What kind of people are you looking for when it comes to adding more contributors to this project? What sort of backgrounds are you looking for? Just in case anyone in the community is listening and is considering supporting this project. Yeah, what what sort of skills are required or needed? Um,
Yeah, thanks for that, Pablo. Definitely we're looking at the developer side. So having a very good developer side is very incremental to the team. However, we're also looking at a verge of new and emerging research within no-code AI. So we're also very much implementing that within the systems, and more people that have, more experience in that would be great. Then not forgetting the core team and, the researchers within the rover system and rover applications within both lunar and Martian exploration. Definitely would be great to get the experience and, learn about the challenges that they faced within the development of these rover systems in both space and Earth, and look at bridging those systems and having them within the standards and getting as much information and research about them so that we can be able to navigate them. And definitely that's the people we're looking at have to align with our mission, open rover standards that look at, revolutionary, changing the entire space industry within rovers and much more. So looking at energy systems, looking at the mechanics behind that and the engineers. It's a whole practical and technical team, so very large, and we'll be sharing and sending out more open calls within our channels, both on Discord and Telegram, to bring in more people to work with us. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much, Roy. Yeah.
You're welcome, Pablo. Thank you.
Yep. All right. We'll move on to another project update. I will pick on Daniel next. Daniel, how's it going? Sorry, I'm not giving much forewarning to people. I'm just kind of throwing them in the deep end. So there we go.
I just
Hey,
had to
Daniel.
make sure I was sitting up properly. Hi everyone. Hi Pablo. Project updates over the last 2 weeks. As we discussed a couple of weeks ago, the fact that the value of ETH dropped by a margin has put a little bit of a delay on the project while we try and work around that. Fortunately, it's come back up a little bit, which has gotten a little bit closer back towards where our target is. But I've also had some success in the background over the last couple of weeks, just fundraising independently to try and make up the difference. So fingers crossed that at least before Christmas, but hopefully within the next few weeks, that we'll have a couple of thousand extra euros come in to just kind of pad out the project and allow us to go ahead within the time frame that we talked about, so that we sort of move into next year quite comfortably. That's the big one. The other bits and pieces to cover is that I did mention before that we may have a new project partner that was really exciting. We actually do have a new project partner that's really exciting now. I can't legally tell anybody what it is yet because they signed an MOU. But hopefully I will be able to do that in the near future. I can confidently say that it takes the reach of our project from the thousands past into the hundreds of thousands, because it's a very, very large global network, and it's really, really exciting. So hopefully I can share more about that in the coming weeks. I know, sorry, that sounds like a bit of a tease, but it's just I don't want to annoy anybody. But the other things that have happened. So we actually had we've actually met one of our OKRs. So we sent our methodology. One of our OKRs was to send our methodology for external review by a professional association within like the sort of political innovation, participatory democracy space. that has happened. That review has come back, and it's been really, really positive. And as a result of that, we've actually been invited to co-author a paper, not until probably the third or fourth quarter next year. But at the tail end of this project, we've been invited to co-author a paper on the project as it sort of stands as an experiment in conducting these sorts of like participatory policymaking exercises. Particularly around commons and transboundary policy areas, and how we're kind of like starting, rather than, the general way of doing these sorts of things, this established way of doing these sorts of things is like, when you've got something like climate change or another, again, transboundary issue or policy area, is you educate first and then ask complex, nuanced, like policy-related questions and bring people into it like that. But it can be quite alienating. And so, as we've discussed from the beginning with our project, our goal is to start in the far future and work backwards, right? So we're starting at the opposite end. We're asking people about their visions for the long-term future, and then working backwards from that to present priorities and goals. So that really struck a chord. And we've got quite a bit of interest in seeing how that plays out and seeing how it affects participation rates, of all those people we get in touch with or invite, or, who learn about it, how many actually fill out the survey and contribute to the project relative to comparable government-run policy initiatives in other spaces. So I think that's quite exciting as well. That's the update. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, you have us on the edges of our seats with your teas, but yeah, excited to hear more soon. Cool. All right, I see Alex has his camera on, so I'll pick on him next. Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Hey, everybody. It is going. Good to see everybody. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I've kind of been in and out of the hospital, but that's a little bit of a long story, so I won't bore you with it. So for updates on the mice campaign, I think I may have already let everybody know previously that we had a conversation with MoonDAO, and in order to deconflict the mouse campaign from when Frank's campaign is projected to be, we agreed that we were going to move the mouse campaign into sort of at the earliest mid-January, maybe at the latest mid-February, for the crypto side of the race. In the run-up to that, we are going to be, I think it's, and Pablo can confirm this or not, but it right now it looks like Fridays at 5 p.m. every week we're going to be meeting with the MoonDAO guys just to make sure that we're in lockstep as we approach those dates. And in the interim, we have actually started a private, just regular fiat, charity fundraiser on ASRI's website, for which, we've had a trickle of donations so far for, through our social media campaign. I expect that to tick up a little bit significantly when some of these other developments that we've been working on for a little bit come in. So I have sort of a final interview with Business Insider that's going to be tomorrow. They want to do the scoop on the mice story. So myself and Dr. Christensen are going to be chatting with them tomorrow, sending them some final materials for them to put something together, and then they should be putting out a piece. We also have Metro UK and a couple other news agencies that have gotten back in touch with us that we've been coordinating with. But I think BI is probably going to be the piece that comes out first, sort of breaks the story. So hopefully we should get a lot of sort of traffic and traction from that. So we've actually sent out letters requesting corporate sponsorship to close to 40 companies, and the last of those will be should be going out this week. So a lot of your sort of pet care companies and major corporation where it kind of makes sense for them to care about animal welfare, and then also a lot of space companies as well. So yeah, finishing that, like I said, that round of letters today and tomorrow, those should be going out. But we are planning on running our sort of private fundraiser until the launch of the MoonDAO one. So anybody looking to donate in the interim are able to go do that and still get, you know, a lot of the benefits, like the mouse naming benefits and other things that we've talked about before. For the project funds themselves, the 15K USD from MoonDAO that was awarded, half of that has been delivered to the KUMC team. The other half is still sitting in escrow. So Dan just mentioned, you know, ETH kind of took a serious dive. So we're sort of waiting, hoping that ETH is going to climb back up by the end of the month. It has recovered somewhat. I think we're sitting around $3,200, dollars per ETH right now. And hoping that it climbs back up a bit more by the end of December, because we're going to have to deliver, those interim funds either way to the team probably by the end of the year, just to keep the mice alive. But we're also going to take whatever we manage to gather between now and then as well on the private side, and hopefully move that over to them so that we can come out to do the January, February crypto campaign sort of on a much stronger foot. I think that is most of the updates for this. You guys may have, if you follow us on social media, you may have seen posts going back and forth. So like, share, comment, repost if you can. Obviously getting the word out there and getting the algorithms working sort of on our behalf is going to give us the best outcome ultimately. But yeah, expecting that we should hopefully start to see a shift up here this coming week.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Alex. Exciting to see that it's moving along and getting off the ground and potentially being picked up by some of these bigger news outlets. So exciting. Cool. All right. We'll keep moving along. We've got a final update from Kara. Hey, Kara, how's it going? How you doing?
Hey, going great. Love hearing all these updates. Very impressed with everybody, and excited to share my updates here too. So let's see, I'll get started with sharing about a summary of the member engagement interviews that I've been doing. So this has been really helpful. I've had 10 interviews so far and have maybe 3 or 4 more coming up. I figured this is a good stopping point to do some analysis with the help of AI and myself in summarizing all these interviews. So I'll give you just highlights because I'll be sending a report to you guys after this that has like a full analysis. But basically, in terms of highlights, we'll start with the summary was basically interviewing 10 MoonDAO community members, diverse people from space engineers, Web3 professionals, researchers. And the overall feedback is strong enthusiasm for MoonDAO's mission, and then experiencing some user experience challenges that need to be addressed. So a key finding overall was that members are deeply committed to the space democratization mission, and then some technical barriers, communication fragmentation, and unclear value propositions are limiting growth and engagement. So while having these useful feedback sessions, I was able to really glean, more information person to person deeply about their experiences and then summarize those too. So I don't think it's super interesting to people to just hear like a research report read out loud, but highlights in terms of positive feedback and strengths. There's strong mission alignment. That's really exciting to hear from people that were new members as well as those that have been members for years. I reached out to people, finding them on Discord. The people that have been active in the Discord was how I was able to find them. And, really strong interest in wanting to take the time and have the conversations with me. So I can see there's, definitely a good, strong foundation has been set within your organization. So that's really helpful. Also, positive feedback on having successful funding mechanisms. It's not easy to set up these processes. Your updated sounded great. personally, just a point of feedback too. I like that moving into the senator phase after a project phase is helpful, because I want to participate as a senator, but I'm pretty focused on this project and also learning. So it makes sense. That would be great to continue on in that way. And let's see. So there is active governance participation, and MoonDAO has a unique value proposition in the industry, right? So those are the positives. Some critical issues identified is around, and also kind of framed in terms of severity. High severity is the website performance and usability, which we know, but is being improved. It is a good foundation. Just some specifics that people mention as the website is lagging at times. The crypto payment process is not as intuitive as it could be. And the design needs some improvement for onboarding new members. Recommendations sounds like what's already happening when I spoke to Pablo, which is great, is kind of looking at these critical issues and just cleaning up some things, right? And so that's going to be really helpful as we get into this larger event in January, so that hopefully the onboarding process is a little bit more streamlined for people. Also bringing out like the member benefits a bit more, with people, they have 10 seconds to read a website and make a decision if they're going to be a part of something. So this is something that I think we could bring to the top, and some testimonials are always really helpful as well. And like recent exciting things. I know there's a lot of detailed benefits within the pages, but bringing those to the forefront. What else? Let's see. Then secondly, kind of high severity is around Discord channel structure and generally project coordination. So we didn't really get into too much detail about like what specific channels needs to be organized in certain ways within Discord. It was more generally that people would like to have easier ways to coordinate on projects, to find each other. And then that ties into what I'll share at the end. So I'll get into that kind of next steps and what we're currently working on for that. Let's see. Yeah, teams are kind of forced to coordinate elsewhere. And interesting, like when you think of like ways to drive member engagement digitally, a lot of times one can think of developing like one's own social network. So that's where there was some discussion around like, should we actually maybe, with a member network that's sort of active, build that out more so that members can follow each other, message each other. Then you drive notifications through email notifications. And that's kind of like a bit of a Web 2.0 way about it, right? It's not to say that's not a decent solution, but we're all part of so many different social networks to ask us to do that isn't it probably, and it's also quite static because it doesn't really allow for, more dynamic interactions with one another. So that's where we're going to get into this AI agent project here in a little bit. What are there some? Yeah, communication fragmentation. That's the case on, all community channels. That's like, we need to be on all these channels because there's so many different ways to connect with people. But then it's like, wow, that's a lot of disparate things happening. I was sort of surprised to hear that email, I thought if email is a core channel, that is still where most of us get our information from. But in terms of asking people, there wasn't really a strong interest in having like much coming to them via email. Of course, in the onboarding processes like you already have, that's really helpful and necessary. But I don't think it feels like beyond like the weekly updates that people want to receive like more emails, notifications that people are wanting to connect with them by email. We're just all very inundated with email also. Let's see, there's some time zone challenges for people in Asia that weren't able to make these calls. I run into that with my community as well. So, I don't know where that may evolve, but this is kind of feedback here in terms of resources. Of course, if you get a lot of members signing up from Asia, then it becomes probably more in our interest to have Asia-centric time calls. And let's see. I know Telegram was a channel for people that existed and hasn't been as active recently. It didn't seem like there was a request for that overall. In the Web3 industry, that's generally where most of us are, as well as Discord. It's just would be another channel to have to manage, so not really recommended to go into that. And then finally, in this like unclear value propositions for new members. So this is kind of going back to what I shared before of having it much more clear for people how they can engage in the benefits right up front. This also was recommended to have more about job opportunities. It definitely feels like the majority of the people here right now are active in the space industry, or they are just like space enthusiasts that have loved space since they were a kid, and they were like, wow, this is so cool, I want to be a part of it. That's the two core demographics that seem to be a part of the DAO. So it doesn't seem like needing to like be even more, if you want to reach a Web3 demographic, Telegram can be helpful for that. But I think in this early times here, with my contributions, we're going to focus mostly on the space industry. Active participants, that's still, quite a big market that we can reach here. And some people felt there was limited support in terms of marketing for their projects. That was a lower kind of feedback. But that's, something that I think can be explored in terms of when there's more marketing support in general, because that's a whole function in itself. Also, bringing, as the community gets a bit more active then and is growing in size, then they can become advocates. So like that's what we're doing within our event in January that we'll be hosting. We're having 20 influencers, or mostly actually going to be MoonDAO members, co-marketing this event with us and receiving about $100 in Mooney for co-marketing. So that's actually really helpful way to just reward people for their support. So that could be something kind of explored in a budget, I would say is a function or a bucket of some sort of influencer marketing budget. And that also encourages more people to come in, because they'll be able to support projects, even if they're not, going to be going on these missions themselves. Okay, there's a lot here. And then lastly, so I'm going to touch on the AI agent, which I'm really excited about. It's exciting to see the industry in general, obviously moving way more towards AI and the technology catching up with all of this interest and rapidly expanding. So what has ended up happening is we are testing a new AI agent, and its functionality is first for member matchmaking. So this is actually almost ready as the basic V1 of the matchmaking experience within the agent. And the agent's going to be able to live on the MoonDAO website and travel to Discord. So this is nice that it can follow you throughout your journey from onboarding to then becoming a member to matchmaking. So it's basing its matching system right now based on your interests. It will ask you certain questions about yourself and what you want to connect with, and what projects you might want to join. So that's exciting. WonderDev is helping out with that and getting the initial framework out on that. And then we'll be chatting with Colin from MoonDAO, as well as an engineer on our team to, kind of double check the code and make sure that we're going to be testing with you guys too, which is really cool. We're running it in a test group with my organization first and some teammates. We're actually going to be using an AI, the similar AI agent, but a different name to our within our communities. So it's nice that we'll be able to basically have a very similar agent operating around both. So on that note, we'll have to be thinking of a personality for the MoonDAO agent. My initial thought was like, maybe it could be Agent Mooney, but that could be fun to engage the community in asking, what kind of personality you'd like to engage with for your agent. So I think that's it for me. I will continue to give any clear updates here, but I'll send a report over, and then, this next phase is basically continuing to build the agent, and then finalizing our funding space event in end of January, finalizing the speakers that are going to participate that, and bringing about 8 or so of you into our Grow Edge program.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kara. Yeah, definitely a lot there. I mean, I'm really excited to hear all this feedback from the community. I think this is like one of the strengths of like DAOs, or these sorts of groups in general, is that you do get like tons and tons of feedback as like we're iterating on stuff. And so I think this is all like really, really useful. It's cool to hear like what people would like to see us working on, or like what they would like us to like focus on and improve. So yeah, thank you so much for digging into the community and getting all this feedback.
You're welcome. It was fun. It's definitely like I mentioned, there's strong, passionate supporters, and that's the best thing that you can have, even with people participating for 3 years. Sometimes these people, there's the drop off, there's the cliff, but it didn't feel, I mean, I haven't talked to everyone, but of course I've talked to the people that were also engaged in Discord already. So that helps, but you have a strong core network.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you so much for your update. All right, we'll keep moving along. We've got one more project, but this is Frank's project, the overview comparison project. He is in Miami right now at Art Basel, so he is not able to join us. But I've been coordinating a lot with him, as has Ryan. So yeah, I can give some general updates. We are honing in on a final draft of the plan, and kind of like some of this like pre-launch stuff around like what we want to focus on in the weeks leading up to the launch for this raise with Frank. So yeah, I don't want to jump the gun either and announce exactly what the sort of plan is, or how it's going to be rolled out. But yeah, I'll say that we've been meeting very, very regularly, once every few days, even over even with this Thanksgiving break. So yeah, we've had a lot of really, really great discussions. There's some interesting tie-ins that Frank wants to pull in. So Frank's been very interested in this question around the overview effect and how that impacts, or how it could impact an AI, which seems like a very I mean, there are like levels to that question. It's like, can like, what is the sort of cognitive shift that happens in a human, and how is that reflected in these sort of like AIs, and what are the sort of, there's some like interesting questions around like the consciousness of an AI, and how you can fine tune it to maybe have like this sort of like empathy or like awareness that Frank has been writing about for many decades around the overview effect, and how that might impact how AIs interact, and there's some interesting stuff there. I'll let Frank really dive into it, but yeah, we've been having some interesting discussions around it, and figuring out whether or not it makes sense to potentially partner with any of these AI labs if they're interested in diving into these questions as well, and seeing what they can do with Frank's potential future flight here. So all really interesting stuff. But yeah, that's all I'm going to share with the overview comparison project for now. that's the end of our project updates. So yeah, I feel like we had a lot of really good updates this week. No guest speaker, but we were able to fill up a whole hour with proposals and project updates. So yeah, lots happening. Cool. And I think that's basically it. We'll see you all next week. And yeah, we'll keep you guys updated in terms of guest speakers for next week. I think Ryan is working right now with setting someone up for next week, so we'll announce that, and then yeah, we'll close it up. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Welcome to MoonDAO, a revolutionary governance model and mission-oriented community that's reshaping collaboration in the space industry. Our mission is to create a self-sustaining, self-governing settlement on the moon to act as a launch point into the cosmos. MoonDAO is governed like a nation, with its own economy, constitution, voting system, treasury, elections, and senate, but internet native, and so without the limitations of geography. In 2022, we sent our first member to space, showcasing our model's capacity for real-world impact. Now, we're implementing key solutions for global collaboration in the space industry. We offer a borderless, permissionless platform that enables everyday people to participate in the future of space development and exploration. Be part of our lunar legacy and join the MoonDAO movement today.